When it comes to introducing a character from the comic books, the origin story, especially in the first installment, is the biggest deal, as it creates an atmosphere for a successful franchise or a failed one. How a character got their powers, chose to be good or bad, or what shaped their values or goals, all exist inside the confines of the origin story. Tony Stark's origin story in Iron Man is considered one of the greatest portrayals of a superhero. The movie did not only introduce a flawed hero, but also set the foundation of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
I am Iron Man.
On the other hand, we have the Eternals, which had a very terrible debut. The Eternals in 2021 struggled in places like pacing, character development, and emotional impact. This made it a far less successful origin story, especially compared to the MCU's previous character introductions.
Did you know Eternals is the only MCU movie ever on Rotten Tomatoes to get a rotten score? It's a let's get the team together kind of movie where you don't care about anybody on the team.
But in the case of Deadpool, our subject of today, his origin story has to be one of the most tragic backstories I've ever witnessed portrayed live on screen. The origin of Wade Wilson is very different from your typical superhero transformation because Deadpool's abilities came at a significant cost. His body is horribly scarred and he suffers from psychological damage.
The face is the stuff of nightmares.
Like a testicle with teeth.
You will die alone.
Wade Wilson, the man behind the Deadpool mask, was a top-tier mercenary who took on very dangerous jobs that required unique combat skills and a willingness to cross several moral lines. Despite being a rental killer, Wade was not entirely heartless. As he said himself, he's a bad guy who gets paid to fuck up worse guys. Wade Wilson is not a hero in any sense, and the writers made that very clear in the first installment of the Deadpool franchise.
You're my hero.
No. That I ain't.
After Wade Wilson fell in love and decided to get married and become a responsible man, he gets the shock of his life when he discovered he had late-stage cancer. The worst stage of cancer a person could have. Late-stage cancer, also known as advanced cancer, is a term used to describe cancer that has progressed to a more severe stage and often spread to other parts of the human body. This type of cancer is very hard to treat, and some of the symptoms might include pain in the bones or organs affected, fatigue or weakness, weight loss and a loss of appetite, difficulty in breathing, and a whole lot. Wade Wilson was literally at his lowest point. His relationship was not the same anymore. His work took a heavy blow. His relationship with his best friend Weasel was also affected. Everything that could go wrong for him went wrong. This was until one day he gets into contact with a man who claims he could actually help cure Wade Wilson.
We can cure your cancer.
This strange man concludes his monologue by assuring Wade Wilson of making him a superhero with incredible powers and abilities far beyond his imagination. Wade Wilson rightfully rejected this offer because what's the catch? What impact has he left for him to be bestowed with all these powers and abilities? Let's take a look at Steve Rogers, Captain America. Despite being physically weak and frequently bullied, Steve never hesitated to stand up to bullies or to defend others, even when he knew he couldn't win. His famous line, "I can do this all day," is a testament to his resilience and determination.
You just don't know when to give up, do you?
You want this all day.
Steve Rogers constantly demonstrates a strong moral compass and a strong sense of justice, which were qualities that the doctors wanted.
The serum amplifies everything that is inside, so good becomes great, bad becomes worse. This is why you were chosen.
His sense of justice is what makes him someone who would use the powers responsibly. But in the case of Wade Wilson, he's far from honorable. After some time, Wade Wilson finally decided to consider this offer. This simple decision will lead him into a terrible situation. Wade was taken into a strange workshop for his treatment. This workshop featured bare concrete walls and floors, giving it a cold, unwelcoming atmosphere. This workshop is overseen by Dr. Francis Freeman, also known as Ajax. Ajax operates this facility that performs procedures on vulnerable individuals, subjecting them to torture in the hope of unlocking their mutant genes. Ajax plays a fundamental role in the creation of Deadpool, both physically and psychologically. Wade Wilson was subjected to all forms of physical torture, such as oxygen deprivation and chemical exposure. The mental and physical torture Wade endures at the workshop ultimately triggers his mutation, and actually cures his cancer. But unfortunately, Wade's entire body is left severely disfigured as a result of these experiments. Wade Wilson now had a unique set of powers and abilities like an accelerated healing factor that allows him to recover from almost any injury. His healing factor is so advanced that it can regrow limbs and organs. Wade Wilson's strength was now above average, enabling him to engage in combat with enhanced opponents. After the mutation, Wade Wilson finally found a way to escape his torture tube and square off with Ajax. Wade was clearly in no condition to fight a person like Ajax, who was also a mutant himself. He lost terribly and was left in the burning workshop. This has to be one of the most tragic ways a comic book character had to go through for his powers. Tell me this scene of Wade coming out of the ashes is not cold as fuck. Filled with anger, pain, and a sense of vengeance, Wade decides to go after Ajax and make him pay for destroying his life and happiness. Wade adopts the Deadpool persona with the help of his trusted buddy Weasel.
Deadpool. That sounds like a fucking franchise.
During this period in his life, he meets Blind Owl, a visually impaired old woman who agreed to let Wade Wilson stay with her. He also came into contact with Colossus and Negasonic Teenage Warhead, members of the X-Men. Deadpool was finally able to come face to face with his #1 enemy. In the heat of the moment, Colossus and Negasonic Teenage Warhead intervened. Colossus wanted to change Deadpool and convince him to use his powers and abilities to help people and become an X-Men. Looking at the pains and trauma Wade Wilson had to go through to become Deadpool, it's quite understandable why the man is hell-bent on vengeance. His powers is literally a curse. He's constantly dying, constantly in pain and agony. He may not die from his wounds, but he sure feels every inch of pain his body goes through. And above all, he has lost his precious Vanessa. Wade is in a bad state of mind, and nothing can change his goal of getting revenge on Francis Freeman, the man who caused him great pain and agony. When someone feels profoundly wronged, it can create a sense of moral or personal injustice that they may feel must be corrected. Deadpool having immense anger towards Ajax is very understandable. Severe wrongs can leave psychological or emotional scars. One major thing bothering Wade about coming out of his shell is his fear of losing Vanessa due to his looks.
Looks on everything.
Looks are everything. You ever heard David Beckham speak? It's like he mouth sexed a can of helium.
Society often places a high value on physical appearance, linking beauty with success, confidence, and happiness. This is the same mindset Wade Wilson has. Looks are everything for him.
Love is blind, Wade.
No. You're blind.
After Vanessa was kidnapped by Ajax and his assistants, Deadpool recruits the help of Colossus and Negasonic to help rescue his lover. Unfortunately, the team was successful and Ajax was finally put to justice.